Let me fix
It's
my
right there.
hair.
Welcome to the Transformation Institute's podcast for change. Here is our host, OMARI JAHI Aton.
What's up, y'all? This is your boy, DJ Tyrone OMARI JAHI. I'm the host of Transformation Institute podcast for change. We thank you all for being here. It looks like my head is trying to disappear and everything, but our subject for the day, we were supposed to talk about this last Thursday, but because it was Juneteenth, we decided to speak on Juneteenth. And so we kind of pushed this topic to this week, which is really a celebration for fathers. That's why the topic for this evening is the making of a good dad. And we use the term dad because, men with children are dads, not fathers. God is the father, and so this is why we use the term dad and not fathers. But let's welcome our co-host. Y'all put your hands together for him. Our co-host, Miss Vanessa, Miss Kim, William, and Miss Brenda. Y'all welcome them to
Hello.
the podcast. Let me see. I got some
Hey.
hand claps. I have some hand claps in here somewhere, y'all. Let me find my hand claps. Oh, there they go. Cool. Nah. Uh-oh. They was giving y'all a second applause. Welcome to the podcast. Everybody, why does this? You're right, Vanessa. It do look kind of smaller today. Everybody look smaller. I don't know what that is. But anyway, our subject today is the making of a good dad, and we're gonna start it off. Brenda was sharing this video on Instagram with us in our group chat, and I just want to share it with everybody. Hey, Bam. Y'all know Bam. So I'm going to share this video. I'm going to share my screen so we can all take a look at this video. Here we go.
My dad, he's the best a kid could have. That's my dad, that's my dad, that's my dad, yeah. Happy birthday to all the fathers.
All right.
Hey, that wasn't me.
That's
That
my
wasn't what I did.
dad.
Tyrone, that was Vanessa who shared that video.
Right. That wasn't me.
Oh, I thought that was Brenda. My bad.
No, I did.
Okay,
share
my
something
bad.
Okay.
All right, Vanessa, thank you for sharing that. For real, I had it mixed up. I thought that was Brenda. Hey, what's up, Isha?
Hey, Isha.
All right, so the making of a good dad, just so we can understand what our conversation is really going to be about, is what makes a good dad. A lot of times people haven't even had a dad, so sometimes people might not even know what a good dad is. I was raised with a father, good man, worked hard. I think that's where I get my work ethic from seeing him. You have to see a man to be a man. You know what I mean? And so I saw him getting up every morning, going to work, coming home at night, and so a lot of my work ethic I got from watching my dad, and then not only him, but other men in my life. I had a male band teacher that was very influential in my life, that a very strong man, that stood up for his principles and things of that nature. Not that he was a righteous man, because he did some scandalous stuff. That's just human, I guess, But being a good dad, to many of us have different. I guess it's like a different definition. It means different things. I know, Brenda, you probably can chime in here because I know you had shared with us on other episodes how your dad might not have been the dad that you wanted him to be or expected him to be. So maybe you should share with our listeners some of those things that you really felt your dad should have been or could have been, and then we can get a better understanding of what a good dad really is.
Well, I just think that my dad, people think you come from a two-parent household, you got your daddy and, so, society will just think that you're good because, a lot of black kids don't have their dads in the house. But my dad was in the house all my life. I was grown. I was grown when they divorced or when they separated. And later on, my dad came to live with me. I found out then that my dad said he didn't know how. He just never said anything to me when I would say things. He would never tell me why. My dad didn't. I was an honor student all my life, got all these little accolades, and my dad never came to anything. He came in the house, he would play with the boys, and I was the only girl for 11 years, and he wouldn't have say anything to me. I can't even remember if he spoke, but I'd see him play with the boys. He might not have spoken to them either, but that was the gist of it. I was a little girl thinking, oh my God. I mean, he was supposed to be like the daddies I saw on television, even though most of those were white daddies at the time when I was little. But I wanted him to say something to me, ask me questions and things like that, just pick me up sometimes, turn me around, that kind of stuff. So that was my thoughts of a good dad, a dad that listened to you, asked you how your day was and stuff like that. So and I didn't have that I never had it. My dad died, and before he died, that's when he told me that he didn't know how because he didn't have a dad. And then I kind of forgave him at that time, but I spent many years. People thought when I was a teenager that my older brother and I had different daddies because I had lied as a young girl, and I forgot the lie and stuck with it for years. So, hey, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
So
Yeah.
you think that because it's this absentee male figure in homes. Some would think that only kind of started in recent days, but
Mm,
in the 60s, 70s, there were fathers that were missing from the home, and even if, like you were saying, even if they were, or maybe I should say dads, I'm sorry, that were missing from the homes, and even if they were in the homes, they may not have been uh, present, or maybe they didn't know how to be a dad because there's no book for this stuff. Just like there's no book for being a mom. You're a first time mom. There's no book out here to tell you, now this is the first thing you do, this is the second thing you do, and make sure you do this. There's nothing out here for us. Only thing if you got a friend that's a father, I mean not a father, I'm saying that has children or whatever, and maybe they can give you some pointers. But other than that, you kind of flying on your own. You out here blind, trying to raise a child. Um, and half the time, we look at the way our parents raised us, and we had this discussion before, how our parents raised us, and we kind of felt like, I don't like how they did me, the whoopings and all that. And so when I have children, I ain't gonna do that crap. Real as a black man, and I know you have a little girl. Tell us about how you, as a dad, interact with your daughter.
Sure. Um, in my experience, having a daughter was a growing up moment for me, right? Um,
Yeah,
I was a lively person back in the day, and I had a daughter, and I had my daughter, but it was at an age of like 8 or 9 that it really hit me that I got a daughter, right? um, Conversations began to evolve into different things that I wasn't really ready to have conversation about. and I will go on the record to say that I think that she helped raise me, um, make me the man that I am for her and for myself. Because I had to exercise some patience with her, and I learned that the most important thing about our relationship that lives strong today is the fact that we have communication. The fact that I can listen to her, understand her point of view, and she can listen to me and understand my point of view, and I can share wisdom with her from my life experience for things that she's going to embark on or that she's going to come in contact with. So that helps a lot in our relationship.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's like I don't know what's going on, y'all. Why our screen looks crazy. Hold on, y'all give me a minute. I'm gonna fix something here. Something ain't right. Because y'all names ain't up there or nothing. Something is going on here. I think this is it. No? I don't know, guys. Your name's not there? Okay.
I'm Brenda.
Nah, Brenda. Nah.
I'm just telling those
You
that don't know, man. I'm not talking to you. I'm telling those people out there.
see,
I'm
see,
Brenda.
see, she getting started already. You see how she attacking me?
I didn't.
You got
You
a
know.
problem with me, Brenda.
All right.
We gonna have to talk. We gonna have to
Okay.
talk.
Here we
We gonna have
go.
to talk.
Go ahead. You
Cause
can have it, man.
you always
We ain't gonna talk
and,
about nothing. You can
and
have it.
people been telling me about how you been talking about me, man. We gonna have to talk.
And they lying. They lying, man. They lying. I don't have to talk about you to people, man. I don't have to do that.
Yeah,
You know,
whatever,
I call
Brenda.
you and talk. Come on, man.
I
Come
know
on.
you
Let's
would,
not do
Brenda.
that.
I know that, but still, people have
Let's
noticed how
get people
you
to
and
stop
me keep
lying to
going
you.
at. See, just like right now, we going back and forth. You see what I'm saying? People been noticing that stuff.
Who started it?
That ain't right. You just did. I'm Brenda. I'm Brenda. I
I
wasn't
was
talking to
just
you.
telling the people because our names ain't up there. That's all I did. See?
But what about the part I ain't talking to you? Huh? What about that
When
part?
you said, I quit. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ty. Go ahead.
All right, come on. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Okay.
All right, let Vanessa, Kim, hey, y'all chime in here on the making of a good dad. What's a good dad?
For me, I think the making of a good dad deals with his presence and the amount of time he spends and what he pours into his child. You have to be present for one, and not just physically present, but you have to be present in all senses. I think for me, not only did I have my biological father, I had two stepfathers at one point, and then I had a brother who was slash a big brother slash father. So I had a lot of men in my life that served the father role, the dad role rather, and they all made a difference because of their presence. For me, like my stepfather Hawk was a great example of like a man with presence because not only did it go with me, but later down the line, even after he and my mom divorced, they were there were times when I can say he showed up for me with my daughter. When she was a small girl for like 2 or 3 years, he worked for the park district, and um, when she was small, he worked with Foster Park. So he would actually come and get her in the mornings and bring her back in the evenings to go to his day camp. And that was something he didn't have to do because, as I said, he was a stepfather. But down the line, he always still stayed in our lives till he died. And when she lost her stepfather, it was just the same as when she lost her step grandfather. It was just the same as when she lost my biological father, you know. So men, they just have to show up and be present and make a mark in the children's lives.
All right.
You know, I can see that. But now, would you guys think that being a dad? Because again, there's no book for this thing. So how do you know? You know, when you say to show up for your children or whatever, you know, how? I mean, like let's say, okay, a dad is he already working. He's trying to pay the bills and this and that and another. Well, he should be. I should say that because that's not always the case. But how can a dad that's doing that find the time to be at events and take the little girl to soccer practice or taking his son to football, basketball practice, whatever the situation may be? Is that well based on what you were saying? That's what a dad should be doing. But can a dad in the world we live in actually be that, or do we need uh, two a two-parent household, both parents working where they can shift off and one do this one and the other one is working while that one is doing this one, and then how does that work with the relationship? You see, it's a lot. It's a lot that goes on in making what we would call a good dad. But I mean, can is that really realistic in the world that we live in?
Yes.
It is realistic. And
Yes, it
it's
is.
realistic because you have to make your children a priority. Um, both parents have to make their children a priority. Sometimes the parent who, if it's a single family home and only one parent of that, present, then that parent has to make way. So the absent parent has to make way also. And even if it's a two-parent home, like you said, maybe switch up, take turns. But if you aren't in the home with your child, then that's why you definitely should be making time for them. Because if you don't, someone else will, and sometimes it's not the best, it's not a real reality for a child if that parent isn't in their lives. And sometimes we as women get between you and your child. And because I know someone's going to bring that up. And I myself had that issue growing up with my biological father and mother. But again, you have to make things happen the way you want to make them happen. You make time for everything else. Sometimes you have to make time for your children. If something happens and you're, let's say, in an accident and you have to go to court, you're gonna go to court. So sometimes if you have a wife or a girlfriend or just your child's mom and she's getting between you two, sometimes you have to go to court. And that's one thing that I hate to say it, brothers don't really do. They don't go to court to push the issue for their children. And sometimes you just have to put your foot down and make some stuff happen, because who's gonna miss out? You and your child.
Well, Mo just Danny just commented and he said something. He said you might not make every event. Good daddies know that. And I don't think that just because there's not a book for it, we know as young mothers, we might have made some mistakes as young mothers. I was a young mother. I was a teenage mother. But there's something that happens instinctively in you, to me. There are some that don't have that. There are some mothers and fathers that never, ever just told them what to do. But if you're a person and you were halfway, and I'm gonna say halfway decently raised, something in you comes alive. Something happens in you that wants you to take care of that small child. I'm not saying that you do everything right, because I've been a mother that sometimes the kids come back and say something that you thought you had done that was great for them, and they didn't think it was great. I mean, they don't hate you for it, but they didn't think it was great. So you got to be intentional. You got to want to be. Those who are not. Great dads, are there great dads? I'm sure there are a few. But when Mo said that you can't show up for every event, those kids will know that. they will know that their dad can't come to everything because he has to work, or he has to do this, or he's not with their mother or whatever. So kid, you just need to kind of make a kid know. Like me, like I said, I saw my dad come in and ruffle my brother's heads and put them in a headlock and stuff. And me, he just kind of passed by. As a girl, already, thinking that you don't talk to me, that was like a hurt. That's something you grow up with. And hey, my dad didn't know. He didn't know what to do with a girl, but somebody should have said something to me when I was a kid, so I didn't go through life with all that craziness. But sometimes this is what we get. This is the life we get. But I think I'm better for it now. So
Well,
that's my
I
piece.
mean, if there's not a book for this, and we all agree that there's no manual for this thing called parenting, and we all have our shortcomings. I did the best I could. Now I'm gonna tell you this: when I figured out that I was going to, no, I shouldn't even say that. When my son was born, like Will said, my whole life changed. Something clicked in me because before his birth, it was all about me and what I want and what I feel and what I thought. But when I held that boy in my arms, it wasn't about me no more. It was about him, you know.
That's what happens to a
And
lot of parents.
right. And see, and then you just base it off of love, need, and I use the word need because a lot of times we mistake need and want. A lot of times children, I should say children, because kids is a goat. We should stop calling our children kids. That's why they're so damn
Yeah.
hard headed. That's a goat. So our children, we those our children are they have an effect on us. If you are if you have love for them and you want to give them what they need, you know, and I think as a father or as any parent, that's what you want for your children. Hey, Kim, why don't you chime in here? Tell us what you think a dad is.
Well, I didn't have a dad, but I had
No,
an
that's a
uncle.
lie. Everybody got a dad. You just didn't know
No,
yours.
in my life, I didn't have a dad in my life. He was raising his other set of kids, where he really wasn't raising them, but he was with them. But I had an uncle, and he pretty much raised all of us, made sure we stayed in line. And my mom had a friend who was pretty much like a father figure to us, made sure we had everything. But my kid's father, he was in their lives up until, we're divorced. But like Brenda said, he was in the home with the kids, but he wasn't, to me, really active, like teaching the kids, making sure they understood their homework, helping them with their homework to get an F. So I had to take over, going to report card pickup, parent teacher conferences. Yes, you can be a presence in the household, but you also have to be active in a kid's life too. That's important. Yeah, you cannot go to all baseball games, but you're outside teaching and practicing with them. Yes, I can't make it to the game, but hey, I'm gonna practice with you. No, I cannot go to your teacher conference, but I'm gonna make sure that I understand what went wrong and what help you need and make sure that you get the help you need. So it's a difference when you say a presence. You have to be active and be a presence in the household. And if you cannot be in that household, yes, you can still be in that kid's life. Yes, you can go to court and fight for joint custody. And a lot of people, like Vanessa said, a lot of guys don't want to get involved in the legal matters. So they just say, I just don't fight for joint custody, but that's important too, because you also letting the kid know, yes, you're not in my household, but yet you picking me up every other weekend. Yes, you in my life. Yes, we're going to the movies. Yes, we're watching TV together. Yes, we're popping popcorn together. So we're doing things together, even though we're not together as a family. So that's important too. That can also make you a good dad. You don't have to be together to be a good dad,
Yeah.
as long as you're present and active in your kid's life. That is a good dad. Not saying that you're in the home with the parent, because you can be in home with the parent and still not a good dad. You're just there. Not doing nothing. Not helping with the homeworks, not helping with cooking, not helping with the bath, not helping with washing clothes. You just there. You go to
Mm.
work.
Well, let me ask you
We both
this.
go to
Let me
work.
ask you this. Let me ask you this,
Okay.
Kim. What
Okay.
about we talking about dads, but it's not just about dads because moms fall into the same category. They're a parent, right?
Correct.
I'm speaking of parents. Now I'm looking at your face, Brenda. That's why I'm saying this. I'm trying to clear it up so you can understand what I'm saying. You see her face. that that what if a parent just was never taught certain things?
We're not taught, but again, like Vanessa and Brenda said, you pick it up. You pick it up.
So
You were
yeah,
raised. You were raised. So again, you know what you went through as a kid growing up. So yes, when you have a kid, things automatically kicks in. And if you don't know the answers, guess what? You ask questions from your parents or other people who you're seeing that are good role models in your life. So that's not an
yeah,
excuse that there's no manual. No, you pick it up. It's called life lessons. You think people on the streets learn how to be
but
drug dealers? No. They picked it up. You think they learn how to be in the gang? No. So again, this is called life lessons. You pick up things and you learn that way. Or you ask questions. No one asks questions. So
well, I mean,
again,
yeah.
there's ways to be a good dad, a good dad or a parent.
Well, I don't know where Brenda went. Everybody falling off here, but Bam is as let me kind of clear up what I was saying here because it seemed to be confusing people. We're talking about dads here,
Right.
making of a good dad. All right, but I was saying that we could be talking about the making of a good dad, but it's in the same sense we're talking about parenting because now we're talking about not also the making of a good dad, it's also the making of a good mom. We're not talking about that. That's not our subject for this evening. The making of a good mom. But I'm saying in the examples of the little tips that we throwing out there, like but even what you said, Kim, being present. I'm saying that maybe moms need to be kind of listening to this, even though we're talking about dads. Moms can receive these tips that we're giving out as well. Where we both can be good parents, even though we're talking about good dads. That's why I said that, ma'am. Bam asked the question, and Brenda was saying, "You're right, ma'am. Why we go back to moms?" I was sharing that so that out of this conversation, not only do brothers can benefit from the conversation, but sisters can too. Y'all feel me?
I do,
No?
but that's one of the reasons why when you were talking and some of the points you were making, I kind of like steer clear of saying, well, mothers also, because
Yeah, yeah,
it seems like every time we talk about men, if I say anything or anyone says anything about women, then it's an issue. So I don't think when we do that, we intend to cause any type of friction, but sometimes it happens.
yeah. Well, I brought it up this time, Vanessa, so that it
Yeah,
wouldn't cause no
I
friction.
got it now.
But but
I
but
think
to,
you like
with sticking with the whole good dad situation, right? When we talk about there's no books, right? Just us as men. Brenda and Vanessa made great points, and Kim as well. We carry a lot of things that we learned growing up into the life of fatherhood or dadhood, if you will. We also learn a lot of things. A good dad also learns certain techniques and ideas from women to implement with their child to help better the relationship. Um, so yeah, the mother does play a role in it because they are also kind of like a model, if
Like
you will,
an
that
example,
that
yeah.
that, that example, if you will, that the father should be able to follow when building that relationship that he needs to build with that woman. I mean, with that child. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
That's good. That's a good
Man,
one.
most definitely. Yeah. I mean, because we all, like I said, there's no book for this, so we all learning from each other.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
the men are
Life
learning from
lessons.
the women are learning from the men. You know, so it's a big learning process. But you know, I still my you know, I'm always on my soapbox, y'all. Y'all know me, and I'm sorry, but this is just who I am. You know, I like looking at the big picture. You know, we're talking about the making of a good dad. I'm looking at a situation or a society that has destroyed. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I can't say that. But a lot of dads have been. I can't even say that either. I'm gonna just shut up. I'm gonna take Brenda's. I'm gonna take Brenda's.
No, go ahead and say what you want to say.
No,
Because I was just gonna say that this society has destroyed the family structure,
yeah,
the entire family structure, and flipped it
yep,
upside down and everything. You know, we're talking about the making of a good dad, but can we really have a good dad when some of our other topics haven't been solved? Like, I don't need no man. I can do bad by myself. I don't need no man to starve to death and all that kind of stuff going on. You see what I'm saying? When we when we are being programmed by this society to think a certain way about each other, and then we look at the deterioration of our family structure, you know, men acting like women acting like men. Women are the playing are participating in the male role in the family. I was just at a party this weekend, and the wife was hosting the party, and the man was doing the laundry. He was coming downstairs with the laundry basket, going in the basement, doing the laundry. Right now, mind you, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's out of order. If they have children and the boy children seeing their father doing laundry, and the boy child seeing his mama taking handling the business and things of that nature, again, I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but it's out of order. Now, what order am I talking about? Brenda, come on, I see you. You finna jump in.
Huh? You don't want to hear me. You don't want to
I
hear
do
me.
want
I'm
to hear
gonna
you.
let the
I
others
do.
speak because you don't want to hear me. Go ahead, y'all.
I got something to say on that one too, because
Go ahead.
because he was doing the laundry, that doesn't make him less of a man, and it sure doesn't take away from his perception of being a father to his children, because actually you should be teaching your sons as well as your daughters how to cook, clean, do laundry, everything. One should know what the other knows, because there is no say that your son will grow up and get married and have a woman to do those things for him. So he should not sit around the house and live in filth and squalor because he can't do those things that he should have been taught to do.
I agree with that. I was
And
taught.
I don't think the kids would be looking like, "Ooh, dad doing the laundry while mama hosting a party." And
Those are basic life necessities.
I don't
Well,
think,
would
see,
would would it would it would it would it would it work if dad was doing laundry and mom was hanging the blinds?
If she knew how to, yeah.
you
If she
know
knew how to
what?
do
Guess who hangs the blinds in her house?
it, if she know how to do them, it sure is right. It sure
Well,
is.
now, let me ask you this. Then why is it that it seems to be taboo that if the man wants his wife to do those things and he does the hanging of the blinds and the other things, now all of a sudden the wife feels like she's being subjugated to some kind of servitude role or something to that effect
I
instead
don't
of
believe that.
But that's
again,
not. But
That
again, you just being a good dad. You're showing your kids, hey, these are what adults do. You're
No, that
teaching
is
your
not what
kids.
adults do. I disagree.
That's not right. That's not
That
right.
is
It
not what
is
adults
right.
do.
You're
That's what
teaching.
that's what this society is.
Okay, so let me ask you
Mhm.
this. So you're saying that as a dad, we're talking about dads, right? That you're not
Yes.
supposed to show or teach your kids this because this is not right, because this is what society has dictated.
No,
So what
what
do
I'm
you teach
saying
your
is
kids?
No.
that I'm
No,
not
that's
gonna
not
go in the kitchen. I'm not gonna let my son see me go in the kitchen and do the dishes and let my wife go out to take the garbage out in the dark. I'm not gonna let my wife do that.
right.
Right?
And if we both in the
There,
house, yes, that's not
So what are you
happening.
teaching your kids? So
Okay, the
we're
garbage
not talking
is
about the wives and the husband. We're talking about a good dad. As a good dad, what are you teaching your kids?
You're teaching your child that every parent has a role to play
a
in the
role.
family. Every parent has a role to play
Okay, so what are
in
those
order to
roles?
make
Let's
that
break down
family
these
function.
roles. As a dad, break
We
down
know, we
these
know the
roles.
roles. We
No,
know the roles.
you're dads, and you're gonna answer our questions.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so you give us the roles as dads. Give us the roles that you're teaching your kids.
The role of a dad is one that leads and
Vanessa,
one
write this
that,
down. Vanessa, write this down.
okay, one that leads, one
Leadership,
that that
leadership,
has
Vanessa.
vision. A dad must have vision for
Vision,
the family. Vision, meaning
vision,
that
Vanessa. You got that?
the dad has to be able to see the future for that family and then have a plan to get to that future. That's the dad's job. The mom's job
We're talking about
is
dads. We're talking about dads. Stay on topic. Dads.
I was talking about parents. That's
No,
what I
making
mentioned.
of a
See,
good dad.
see,
Making of a
see,
good
we
dad.
change our stuff. We change when we want to. We got a subject, and now we just change it and say, well, not the making of a good dad. Now we're going to talk about the parents because we argue all the time about men versus women. We said we was going to stop it, but we can't because we got to bring them in here. We got to talk about it like this.
No, we're gonna
I'm
stay
not
on topic
getting this.
tonight. We're gonna stay on
I,
topic tonight.
I am
So
not
real,
getting that. I don't
real.
understand that.
Give your examples of making a good dad. So Vanessa's gonna add to the list.
Well,
Okay,
I
I
make
mean,
okay.
y'all
Well, I'm
seem
sorry. Go
kind of
ahead.
hostile, man. I mean, I don't
They
understand
are
what the
very
hostility
hostile. They are very
came from.
hostile.
I
Hey,
This is
really
take
the
it
don't
how you
opportunity to
understand.
want
put
to.
us on the hot
Take
seat.
it how you wanna. When y'all say stuff how you know how it affects us. Take it how you wanna.
But
Cause
I
I
So
didn't
ain't
say
mad
real,
at you.
that.
give
I
your
ain't
I was
mad at
examples.
you. I'm just passionate about what I'm passionate about. I ain't mad at now one of you. I love you and you know it. So, but I'm
I was
passionate about what I'm talking about. And when I hear somebody talking like these roles are, hey, in a family, y'all know. I mean, unless you don't know, in some families, there's the man and the woman, they trade off. You know why? Because the woman gets pregnant, go have a baby, and go away for a few days, and her husband cooks. He washed some clothes. He does some things that the kids see him do, and his daughters appreciate it. Now, my dad didn't talk to me much, but let me tell you, my dad cooked. And my dad cooked real good, made things we wanted to eat, even though he didn't talk to me. Said some stuff to me on this line right here. Said, even though my dad didn't do much, whatever. I'm paraphrasing it, he said, even though my dad didn't do that, his position, his being in the household made a difference. And you know
yes.
what? It probably did. I was hurt by my own hurts, but my dad made a difference. And there are some things I do remember about my dad. So, guys, the son and the daughter, because the dad needs the mother to help him with the daughter sometimes, because the dad will talk to a daughter in a way that he shouldn't, and the mama has to kind of tell him. So I think that they should work together. But when we got men who say that this is my role and hers is this, and I'm in that, oh God, I will never marry. I will never marry if we have to do that. Okay, I'm
Well,
through.
Okay.
well,
I'm
Okay.
not mad.
but
I'm
Brand,
passionate.
you right about what you're saying in one aspect, but it's some things like even me, that I won't even approach with my daughter, right? Because you're
Okay.
right. There's some things that I think that the mother has to take on responsibility about, and one in particular is the womanly issue thing. I don't
Yeah,
want to
the
talk about that. You know, it's
administration.
not.
Yeah, dads shouldn't talk to their daughters about
I'm not
administration.
talking about that. You know, I made that very clear. Right? That's that. When I say roles, those are roles. I am not going to address. Don't bring it to me. If it's an issue, then you talk to me. But don't. That's your job. That
Okay,
ain't
let
my
me ask
job.
you this, Will. What
Well, what
happens
if
if the
you're a
mom is
single
not
parent?
there?
Right.
Right.
Why if the
That's a
mom
whole
passed
different. That's
away?
a whole different situation, right? That's a whole
But I'm saying, but you
that
still
takes
got
some
to
out.
address
That
that.
takes some outside thinking. That's saying, well, now, I might not be the person to do it. There's a grandma. There's aunties. You know
Why
what I'm
if you don't
saying?
have those people around? You got to
But
look
they
at
are
that. And though
around.
you're
It
saying
doesn't
that's not
exist.
your role, but you
That's
have to also prepare yourself to whereas if the mom isn't there,
I
you got
don't
to
think
step
that I
into
don't think
that
it's my
role.
role because I don't experience it, so I can't give you no advice on something that I ain't experienced.
And that's
I
what
can
you
tell
call
you
pick up a
something.
book. Pick up a book and read.
you
Talk
know
to
what?
your female friends. So
I,
that way
I
you
don't
can explain to your daughter.
No,
I don't I
I
don't know.
disagree with that. I disagree with that.
I
Vanessa, put that
actually know
down.
two
Put that down,
men.
Vanessa. Men don't want to address female issues
I
with
actually know two
daughters.
men who raised daughters themselves. One being my cousin, he raised one daughter, and then I have a friend who raised two daughters. One was his biological daughter, and one was his stepchild, but he never made a difference with them. So he had two girls to raise. The mom wasn't in the picture.
I got a friend
No,
now
Thing.
raising two daughters, and the mom is not in the picture.
You
And
can't
he
pick
See,
has
and
to deal with
choose.
all of this.
When you're a
there
parent, you have to parent whatever
Right.
situation you're given. But I want to touch on something you said, Tyrone, about the leading and vision and all of that. Like
hmm
Brenda was saying, sometimes men are there, but they aren't there. Um, with those situations, sometimes they're there, but they aren't taking the lead like you say they should with roles, traditional roles. So in those situations, you have to adapt and do what you have to do. But one of the other things for me is men with this hyper masculinity. You can't
Let me say
really,
that again. You say men with hyper masculinity?
yeah,
Okay.
where it's based on I'm gonna rule by aggression and you're gonna do as I say and you don't have a real place. You come at it aggressively and you want the kids to instead of understanding you, you want them to respect you to the point where you don't give them the love and understanding that they need. So they see some man who just barks at them all the time. They don't see a dad who is caring and sensitive and trying to, know what's going on with them. They just see someone barking at them saying, do this, you should do that. So, that helps too, when we're talking about the makings of a good dad, because like we all were talking about, presence doesn't mean much if you aren't really present. You're
Active.
physically
You're not
there, but
active.
you aren't doing everything that you need to do to make a real connection and build bonds.
When my
Well,
dad would whoop me, when my mama let my dad whoop me, my mom would say sometimes when I've done something, she would say, "Well, you get her, cause she ain't listening to me." And let me tell you, my dad would whoop me, and I would think to myself, "Why the hell he whooping me? He don't even know me. Why he do?" Oh, it was terrible to me. What? Who is he to whoop me? I felt like he shouldn't have even wanted to. He should have said, "I don't know that girl." He should have just said it, cause that's how I felt. So, I mean, I don't know. Hey, it the makings of a good dad is something that I thought we were talking about. We don't know what it is, but I was in my mind, I was thinking, what are some things that each of us got? Let's before we get off of here, that adds to what we think will make a good dad. Not everything we done or that dads have done, but what are some of the things? I know some people who never communicate with their children, and it bothers me to the point of, how do I know you? How we friends? How I talk to you? And in my head, I already got to think about that.
You
And
can't be friends
I'm
with
like,
your children.
you
That
can't
that
be
that
friends, right? Hey,
I'm not
that's
saying
Brent.
a
that.
no right there.
I didn't say
You
that.
said,
I said I
why we're
have
not
some
friends?
friends. Okay.
Maybe I misheard you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So Brent,
I said
I
I
got
have
a
some
separate.
friends
Oh,
who don't talk to their children,
hmm
and I'm their friend, male, and I got like
Ew, she froze.
So I got an issue. That's a thing for me. That's it. That's one of those triggers for me. That okay, you're my friend, and yeah, he's just my friend, but I gotta you gotta you just don't have nothing to do with your kid.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe that's my trauma. Maybe that's something came from my childhood. I don't know.
No, because I know someone too that they have an adult kid in another state and they don't have a relationship with them.
Well, okay. Okay. We're talking about the making of a good dad. Okay, I got that.
Yeah, you got to have a relationship with your kids. Yes.
Okay. But see, we're talking as if like we're talking about a cookie cutter type of situation. Everybody's situation is cut up into this cookie cutter kind of situation where everything in everybody's household is supposed to fit this one little cookie cutter thing, and every
No, we're
man is supposed.
not.
Let me
We're not
finish,
doing that.
Brenda. Let me finish. And that every man is supposed to is well, I don't mean supposed to. That every man must fit this qualification, and he has to stand up and live up, to this qualification, whether he was taught it or not. If he wasn't taught it, I don't care. Figure it out. That seems to be the mentality that's going on here. And I don't. And my understanding is, like when I became a father, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't know what was expected of me. Only thing I knew is that I love my child and I wanted what was best for my child. Now, as life goes on, you pick up little things. You see other people doing things. Hey, that wasn't right. I don't think that was right what I just saw this person doing with their child. So you make little mental notes. I ain't gonna do that, with my child or this, that, and another. So you're learning as you go, you see, and your child might get to be 20 years old and you still haven't figured it out yet. As a dad, you still ain't figured it out. That doesn't make you a bad dad. That makes you a dad that did the best you could with the information and the knowledge that you had. This is all I'm saying, and to say that this is what a dad is supposed to do this. You're right. He is supposed to do it. But what if you don't know? Like your dad, Brenda, he didn't know how to deal with you. Nobody ever taught him. And he didn't figure it out. He didn't go get a book and figure it out. That didn't make him a bad dad. That just made him a dad that didn't know some shit.
Well, that made him a bad dad to the child. I was the child, and I mean, I didn't even call him a bad dad. To me, that was I didn't call him a bad dad, but that I felt like I didn't have a good daddy. I mean, I still respected my dad. I
Right. You
had to
didn't
do what he told me
disrespect
to do.
him.
Uh, but no, I mean, to me, I mean, if you ask individual children, they may have a story to tell, and it may have been a bad dad to them. And yeah, I did understand when my dad, I was 50 something years old when my dad said that to me. So then, I mean, come on now, I done lived 50 some years for a man to finally say, I don't know. I didn't have a dad. He probably was feeling that, didn't know how to say it or whatever. But let me tell you,
Right.
I let that man live in my house. I never treated him like he was a bad dad. But ask me if it was I had a bad dad, I would say yeah. I would say he wasn't a good dad. That's what I would say. I never called him bad, but it's the kids. The kids feel something. Little kids, little boys right now feel something. Their mamas and daddies are in the house and they ain't talking to them, ain't doing nothing with them, ain't teaching them, ain't training them. And these kids are feeling something. I believe. I don't know, but I believe that they are. So, and we're not having a cookie cutter thing because I don't believe there's a cookie cutter thing
It's not.
for anybody, children, parents. I just don't believe it. The doctors and nurses ain't even the same. Everybody is not the same. Everybody's not going to be good.
Right.
I don't believe in that. I really don't believe that. I'm just saying the makings of a good dad. Like I said, like you just said, a dad that does this or that. Hey, that's the makings of a good dad. The makings of a good dad is if my dad would have said to me, I would have thought maybe he was a good dad if I was young and he say, Brenda, I'm sorry, I don't know how to treat you. I didn't have a dad, but he
But he
never
didn't know.
did.
He didn't know.
I'm just saying, I would have, it would have made a difference in my life. That's all I'm saying. But I'm all right. I'm all right. And then sometimes I think about it because you, Ty, always you would say to me that maybe that my issue with my dad is maybe the issues with me with men. And you know
Mm-hmm.
what? It might be right. But the only thing is I always give a man a try, like a chance, like I gave my dad. I do. And I don't walk around in my head with, oh, he just a man. He gonna be doing this. I don't do that. I open up my heart and my mind, and still stuff still happens. We know that. Y'all know that. It happens. Stuff still happens.
Yeah.
I
I
just
mean,
want
but okay, go ahead, Vanessa.
I just want to say something right quick. When I was saying presence is one of the things that's important to me, being physically there as well as committed to being a father, and it stemmed from my own childhood. So from 2 to 11, I did not know my biological father existed because my mother kept him from seeing me. Now, as I got older, I had a problem with her and him when I started thinking about things. I had a problem with her because how could you keep me away from this man for 9 years and I know nothing about him? I had a problem with him because when she did allow him to come back into my life, the first time I walked into his house, big ass picture of me. Soon as you come through the door, how could you come through this damn door every day and look at this child on the wall and not care where the hell she is, what she's doing, if everything's okay? He probably did know because my mother kept in touch with my auntie. But that's the thing I'm talking about. Some men fight for what the hell they want to fight for. Fight for your damn kids. Now, am I okay with them? Probably not, because hell, I'm over here crying. But y'all excuse me.
Hey, it touches the heart. It does.
Bothers you when you sit around and think about it. Now I was okay by the time they both left this earth. I was okay about everything, but imagine what I probably missed in those 9 years. You know, you can't get that shit back.
You know,
So,
go ahead, Will.
no, I wanted to just let Vanessa know I understand how she feels, and I'm sorry that she's becoming emotional right now. I have a similar.
I'll hit you later, Will, because you playing on that emotional stuff.
No. I'm finna tell you something. I'm finna share something, right? I have a.
Yeah.
No, I'm finna share something because you just touched me with what you're saying, and Brenda get on my case about this all the time. But you missed your father for 9 years. I missed my father for 42 years. And yeah, it's hard, right? To walk in and see a person that's a direct reflection of you, that walk like you, that make little quirky, noises or sounds like you. Um, and you've been and they've been around you your whole life, but you hadn't known it because of some feud between the two adults. And everybody want to explain themselves in that situation. And I took the grown folks route in that situation when my dad wanted to say, let me tell you my side, and my mama told me, let me tell you your side. I said, hey, none of that stuff matters to me because it didn't happen in 1975. If it happened before 1975, it ain't my business. So that's y'all stuff. That ain't my stuff. So I understand exactly what you're saying. So I'm sorry that you even feeling the way you're feeling tonight.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So we're into closing thoughts now, you guys. Let me kick it off by saying this. I believe the making of a good dad has a lot to do with what Vanessa's saying, being present, but not only just being present, but doing the best you can, being a good dad, The best the best dad that you can be based on your understanding of what being a dad is. Now, there's a lot of what would I call it? There's going to be a lot of things, stumbling blocks. I'll put it like that. That may be thrown in a dad's path, like a hostile, bitter mother, something to that effect. You know, like you were saying, how your mother kept him from you. It's not that he didn't want to be in your life, but she kept him from you. And then the law of the land backs up a lot of women in that situation. And we have to understand, and I'm gonna shut up, that men don't deal with the law like women do because the law does not support men like it supports women
Right,
in that
right,
kind of situation.
right.
I've known plenty of guys that went to court to try to fight for their child and ended up in jail because they had a warrant.
Absolutely.
Men do not do that, you know. And so these are all the things that go into the making of a good dad, or what we might want to say even a bad dad, you know, because every situation is different. And so we have to understand when we're dealing with men trying to be dads to their children, that there's a role that the sister has to play in order to allow that man to be a dad. And if he's not, I think somebody else said this, if he's not doing anything, he ain't even trying to be a dad to us. He ain't trying to come see him. He ain't trying to pay for no schooling. He ain't trying to do none of that. That's not not only a bad dad, but he's a bad man, period. You know, and so we can't look at that and fit every other man in that category of some trifling Negro that really haven't grown up himself. Because see, when you become a man and become a dad, you understand that your responsibility is making sure that that child that you brought into the world has the best opportunities to be great. That's your job as a dad. And I'm gonna leave it at that. That's my closing thought.
So my closing thought would be we talk about what the making of a good dad is. And I think the making of a good dad is a dad that's constantly evolving and learning and understanding their child so they can grow with their child and be close with them along the way of life.
Amen.
All right. All right.
My closing thought for the dads: be there and just be present and show your children love.
For me, it would be active in your kids' life. Make sure you spend time with them. If you don't know, guess what? We're gonna learn together. So it's the difference of being present, but you also gotta be active. So active is the key word for me.
Amen.
Mine is my ex-pastor's wife did a sermon one time, and it was called "What's Wrong with Your Want To?" And my question to the dads that don't want to is, what's wrong with your want to? How do you know that you have a child out there and you just don't want to be a dad? Um, that that just saddens me. It saddens me because I got a bunch of nephews that don't have a dad, that don't have a male presence. I said that last week. And what's wrong with your want to? That's my closing thought.
That's great closing thoughts by all of you guys. You know, I really do believe that you know, and what you just said, Brenda, made me think of another conversation. You know, but we'll talk about that later offline. But it makes, you know, because what we're doing is very important. We're having conversations because I don't hear people having these kind of. They probably do, but I don't hear them. You know, people having these kind of conversations about dads, about relationships, and things of that nature, about the family structure. You know, all of this. I
Mhm.
think it's very important for us to have these conversations, and I thank you guys for being on here. And please do not be hostile. Let's not be hostile with each other. You know, because
I'm passionate. I'm passionate. I'm
See, now you
sorry.
take
I'm not
hostility as
hostile.
passion. Passion and
No,
hostility is not the same
I'm
thing.
passionate. Oh yeah, I am. You can't. I'm not hostile because I don't have nothing against you. I'm passionate
I
about what I'm
understand.
talking about.
I
That's
understand.
it.
You know,
That's
I
it.
used to be arrogant. I used to be a very arrogant person, and I called it what's the word I used? Um,
Narcissist.
no, 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 no. Confident. There it is.
Narcissist.
Hey,
Confident.
that was you. That was you, man. That's what you did. I'm passionate, and I'm calling you passionate.
But is it? Was I really arrogant or was I confident?
I don't
Who's
know.
to say? It's from the perspective of the person that's viewing you. See, we all can
Right.
view ourselves in a
Oh,
certain
okay.
light. We can
And I
all view
care.
ourselves in a certain light,
I
but
care.
who you really are is how people perceive you. How do people see you?
No, now we gonna walk away with that at the end of this program.
Anything.
That who I am is what people put. Oh, all right. It was nice.
That's
This was
another
real
show.
nice. This was a nice show. Love you guys.
That's another
Peace
show.
out.
Right,
Peace
right.
out.
Good night.
Well, I guess that didn't come across right. Oh, Brenda done chimed out already.
She
Oh my
said peace.
God.
She said peace.
That don't mean nothing. See, I'm gonna have to get on Brenda. Y'all heard it here first. Me and Brenda finna have a conversation. She gonna be all right next week.
She said what she said and said peace out.
Right.
She dropped the mic. She dropped the mic.
Bam, I'm out.
Bam.
Hey, thank you guys for being on here. I want to thank all of our Said, Cut, Yolanda, who else was on here? I saw Peaches. Oh, we had a new person, Carl Goins.
Oh, okay.
Is that Brenda's Carl?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even know he was on here. Carl and let's see who else was on here. I think that's it. Sid.
Mo,
Oh, right, Mo was on here. I seen him.
Isha.
And the bearded one. His name is Arthur, so y'all know his real name is Arthur.
Okay. So
He has
Vanessa,
a podcast called The Bearded One, huh?
if you can compile that list, that'd be great. And so that Tyrone can just put it on the website.
Compile the list. What do you mean compile it?
The list of making of a good man. We jotted down some good points.
No, you and Vanessa was putting that together. Don't try to put that on me. I wasn't making no list. I was having a conversation.
Right. And I told Vanessa to write this down. These are some good points. We
And
want
you
to
just
write
tried
down
to
some
pass
bullet
it down.
points.
I got it.
And
You know I'm writing down
Okay.
stuff all
Thank
the
you,
time.
Vanessa, Miss Secretary.
Until next week. Whatever,
Bye.
man. Until next week. Hey, we gonna be here next week. Peace out, y'all.
Bye.
Good night. Good night, guys.
Thanks for supporting our podcast. We look forward to see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. We also ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. The more subscribers we have, the more YouTube will push our podcast to more viewers. But until then, subscribe also for a peaceful mind. Your activity will reflect that peace.